same time taking nature and other use of the North Sea into account. That is addressed in the North Sea Energy Programme. It's a public-private collaboration of more than 30 international parties and public organizations. In this webinar series, we will present the research methodology and the key results from the earlier phases of the North Sea Energy Programme, and we take a closer look at the next phase. When you have any questions, please enter them in the chat and the experts will answer them. Today's webinar, we will discuss the North Sea Energy Atlas and the energy markets. Today's guests are Joris Groenenberg, Sebastiaan Hers and Remco Groenenberg. At our table, we have three experts active in the North Sea Energy Programme. Joris Groenenberg, Sebastiaan Hers, Remco Groenenberg. Welcome. Joris, can you maybe introduce yourself and your role in the North Sea Energy Programme?
Sure. So I'm Joris Groenenberg and I work at TNO. And my role is I work on offshore system integration and energy storage. And my role in the North Sea Energy Programme is that of a scientific lead. And that means that basically in the program we have a lot of different scientific disciplines: ecology, technology, environment, markets, social studies. And my role is to integrate those different knowledge lines into one coherent program.
Okay, thank you. Sebastiaan?
So my name is Sebastiaan Hers. I've been working on different topics for TNO, like market development and energy system development. Today you see a lot of interest in how we as a society can transfer to a system that shows lower CO2 emissions, and that is a very hefty development, and typically offshore integration is a significant part of that.
Yep, we'll discuss it more today. Remco, your background and role in the program?
Yeah, my name is Remco Groenenberg. I work at TNO as a scientific lead for subsurface energy storage, also active on system integration, for instance in the North Sea Energy Programme, where I am the work package lead for the Atlas work. I'm a geoscientist by background, but also have experience in software development.
So Remco, can I invite you to present the results of the Energy Atlas work within the North Sea Energy Programme?
Sure, Rene. So yes, this North Sea Energy Atlas is not a new atlas. It was built originally in NSC 3 already. Then at the time it focused mainly on the Dutch sector of the North Sea and basically showing all the activities that are there, ongoing there. In this fourth phase of North Sea Energy, we expanded the atlas to other countries around the North Sea. So that's basically Denmark, Germany, the UK, Belgium and Norway to some extent. So this is the view of the homepage of the Atlas online. It's available online via the internet, and this basically shows what activities are ongoing at the North Sea, not just energy-related activities, but also non-energy-related activities. So transport via shipping, for instance. Also ecology, so what is happening in terms of ecology at the North Sea, where are the nature reserves, where is the ecological value, and it also portrays visions on how the North Sea can develop in the future. So yeah, what is important here to mention is that we try to convey that on the one hand the North Sea is as mentioned before, an important resource for energy production and storage, and on the one hand there is great ecological value, and that we want to also protect and preserve and even strengthen. So we're looking for synergies between energy-related activities while also strengthening ecological value and also giving room to other uses of the North Sea like fishery, transport, etc. So yeah, this is just to underpin that there's a lot going on at the North Sea. Space is scarce. So yeah, indeed, where to find the synergies. This is an example of everything that currently is going on at the North Sea. On the right you see the legend. It's really busy, and we need to find ways to combine activities in a synergetic way, and thereby also, in a sense, saving space. So yeah, what did we learn in this fourth phase? Well, basically, and do, of course. What we did is basically the major redesign of the Atlas, including this new theme on energy hubs, and also new sub-themes that focus more on developments in the areas of hydrogen production and storage and carbon capture and storage. We actualized the Atlas data for the Netherlands mainly. The Dutch version of the Atlas was already existing, but needed to be updated. We extended the data coverage to all countries around the North Sea, added potentials for non-wind renewables and subsurface energy storage, added bathymetry, substrate and sand extraction areas, and very importantly, and this was also a first time for NSE, we included NSE 4 results of different work packages, work package 1 on the hubs, 4 on ecology, and 5 on logistics into the Atlas. Finally, we also now offer functionality to custom make composite map views. This was something that was highly desired by users that are more expert, and that we tried to basically cater by giving them an option to customize their views of different teams and sub-teams. So yeah, what did we learn then? Well, as I said, there's a lot going on at the North Sea internationally. There's also a lot of collaboration needed there to make sure that we make the best use of space. So here collaboration is essential on spatial use, and that's also where we feel the NSE Atlas can play an important role in facilitating collaborative discussions about use of space. Something else, of course, self-updating of Atlas content. So basically, we learned to do this ourselves. Text in panels, legends, and potentially also maps. Working together with our provider of the Atlas software, XKP. How to offer more flexibility in customizable maps. And basically, very importantly, how and which stakeholders use the Atlas and for what purpose. Then I'll probably come back on that later.
Yeah. Remco, maybe you can really show something of the maps and give your final conclusions and recommendations on this activity.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, on this example here, I show a future hydrogen ecosystem at the North Sea. How might this develop? So that basically means what we show here is locations where hydrogen might be produced in the future, demand centers where hydrogen might be used for different purposes. The lines, the colored lines display pipeline network that might be developed in the future, and also how it's going to be developed. And then basically the colored areas, let's say, different colored areas. So the wind farms that are planned to be built and already operational. So this shows. Basically how the hydrogen ecosystem might develop in the future. Importantly, also with the red areas, the red ringed areas, let's say it like that. We also show the locations of the future hubs as NSE is proposing them. So that's one example of a sub-theme, in this case on hydrogen and a vision for the future. Another example is this example, where we basically have a new theme on energy hubs. And the energy hubs that NSE is proposing, as I mentioned, are Hub West, Hub North and Hub East. And what we show here is the result of work package 1 of North Sea Energy 4, which developed concepts, let's call it visions of how these hubs might look like in the future. Basically towards 2050, combining different activities, energy-related activities, of course, in this case, wind production, hydrogen production, carbon capture and storage, for instance, are the key, and electrification of platforms even for tail end of gas production. This is what we show here, and this is also included in the new Atlas. And then finally, also mentioned before, these customizable map views. an idea of how this basically works. What we see here is the current energy-related activities that are going on at the North Sea. And what I've done here with the toggle, I've also toggled on the bathymetry map that shows the depth of the North Sea at different locations. And this is now shown underlying the actual data on energy-related activities. If a user would want to not see this, then you would have to toggle that bathymetry map off. And this is a functionality that we have basically included in all the teams and sub-teams of this North Sea Energy Atlas, allowing more expert users to customize map views and decide themselves what data they want to show and not show on the Atlas view. Yeah, and coming back to your question on the conclusions, recommendations, Rene. Basically, what we find is that the Atlas is a multi-purpose visualization platform. It's used by a diverse set of stakeholders with different needs, as mentioned. I've listed them here. We discussed this before. It's challenging to strike the right balance between the layman's atlas to inform a wider public versus a more expert use atlas that offers a high level of customization. What we did confirm is that there is a clear need for, well, let's call it a one-stop shop for North Sea data. And the Energy Atlas, in our view, could fill that gap. It's visually attractive and it's always well received. It is very important, however, to keep the Atlas up to date. Developments at the North Sea are very fast-paced, especially on wind at the moment, but also hydrogen production at the North Sea is expected to increase a lot in the near future already. So therefore, keeping the data up to date in the Atlas is very important. And this is also one of the activities that we are going to pursue in NSC 5 to have a regular update of the data in the Atlas.
Okay, Remco, thank you very much. Please have a seat again. And great to see that the Atlas is used so much by many stakeholders. I understand there's also international interest for this Atlas. Can you elaborate?
No, absolutely. Yeah, no, we're getting a lot of interest from also non-Dutch people to take a look at the Atlas and asking about certain data and whether they can get the data or indeed want to contribute with data. It's really nice to see that.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. Joris, this is the Atlas. How is it being used? Actually, for example, you mentioned the roadmap that is being developed. How does this integrate?
Yeah, the roadmap is part of the program. It's a bit of the synthesis phase of the program, where we basically combine the insight from multiple disciplines there. And the roadmap shapes basically storylines or how these energy carriers can develop over time towards 2050. For instance, natural gas, how will it phase out? How wind, how will it come into the energy mix picture? And then this atlas is really important to understand the boundary conditions. How do other stakeholders balance the energy transition offshore? Does it fit in time and space? And does the carrying capacity of nature, is that sufficient to support that energy transition? And so then we understand better how these energy carriers can realistically transit over time. So that's how we use it.
Yeah. Great, and we will discuss the future in North Sea Energy 5 later on. Let's first go to the markets and the economics, Sebastiaan. It's an important topic in the program. We already discussed it. Can I ask you to present the results of the work on that activity?
Absolutely. Right, so basically what we've done is starting off from a long history of energy market modeling. Electricity market modeling has been a practice that is being applied already since the turn of the century with the introduction of electricity markets. The same basically goes for gas markets. Nevertheless, today we're looking at a different situation where we see increasing integration or foresee increasing integration of these two markets, but also the emergence of a hydrogen market. So the practice that we've seen in the past required some extensions. We applied it as such just before the start of this program. And basically we applied this modeling approach to the matter at hand. So what does a model like this do? Basically, you're looking at a system with quite exact characterization of what it can do in terms of operational efficiency, what it can do in terms of operational dynamics. And basically, you can look at a power market system, a hydrogen system, and a methane system. There's interactions between those markets as there is different conversion options. And when you apply the optimal dispatch or the optimal allocation of this system in order to serve demand, it gives you basically the cost of production, which is a good marker or proxy for the pricing. Not only do we look at the system as a whole, but also do we look at the different spatial aspects of the system. So here on the left-hand side, you see the three different markets outlined in terms of a network topology reflecting the Northwestern European system, and in more detail, with an outlay on the right-hand side, the Dutch system. The Dutch system is characterized in much more detail in this approach, with, say, in the order of 30 different small submarkets. With a model like this, you'll need some kind of assumption regarding the energy system, which is clearly an input. So what we've taken is the current visions that are being developed predominantly by the grid operators regarding system development towards 2050. We've taken 2030, 2040, 2050 from those studies, basically taken those as an input to the model, where you have two variants in terms of two scenarios. One which is rich in electricity, the other is much richer in molecules, and one might say in hydrogen, but also green gas. Later addition that we needed was an update of the natural gas supply situation with the situation in the Ukraine. So we coupled it to the LNG market, the international LNG market. And finally, we distinguished the hub system as a separate additional allocation of the productive system to the offshore. So these are results for the situation envisaged by the scenario with a lot of electricity in it. And basically what we find is quite comparable results for the situation where there is a lot of molecular energy carriers in the system. In this case, what we call the Repower EU scenario, where we assume that the LNG market is part of what's serving the Dutch natural gas demand. So what it basically states is that the results are consistent across widely or vastly ranging scenario variants. Another important item that we encountered is that there is a very significant impact of how you design your infrastructure. It heavily affects the rate of deployment of different energy carriers, and that relates to how exposed the energy production facilities and energy conversion facilities in the offshore infrastructure are to market prices either in the Netherlands or market prices in surrounding countries. And what you see here is that in a fully exposed system, there is a relatively high deployment rate for a relatively limited number of hours, whereas if you look at the hub system, you see that there is a much higher number of hours of deployment of the assets. It is all very highly dependent on how both the production, conversion and infrastructure are designed, but it heavily affects the proposition both for the producers as well as for the consumers. I think the most important learnings over the full span of scenarios and variants that we have undertaken are that basically there is a robust case to make for benefits from a market perspective in offshore system development. Critical here is a balanced development of both offshore and onshore systems. So far, the future vision scenarios were typically developed as a largely independent effort, and we believe it will be of importance to see how the two affect each other, as they will be affecting each other in terms of energy needs as well as energy prices. Finally, infrastructure for transport is a vital element that should be very carefully designed, since hubs can be connected as well as different surrounding markets can be connected.
Yeah, so Sebastiaan, it's great to see that actually the energy hub concept gives a lot of societal value and potentially lower cost. I was wondering, this is on societal level, integrated level, but in order to attract investments, companies will look at business cases. Is that something also you can derive from this modeling exercise?
Absolutely. We have been accounting for, well, basically the NPV calculation or the comparison of costs and prices. But what is critical here is that prices might easily be lifted by different design features of scenarios or depressed. And whether there is consistency in those terms depends on whether the investments are modeled actually on an NPV basis, and we didn't do that in this project, and we hope to be able to address that in
maybe in the next phase, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks very much. Please join us at the table. So Joris, we heard what has happened in North Sea Energy 4 on the Atlas and on the economics and the markets. What is planned for in the next phase of the program, Energy 5?
Yeah, I'm really enthusiastic about the next phase, because what we heard about the Atlas from Remco and the market modeling from Sebastiaan, we're going to actually combine those two in the next phase. So basically that you can do spatial explicit market modeling of the new energy system. So that you combine spatial information, and you can also think about that users of the tools that we deliver in North Sea Energy 5 can actually draw their new energy system on a map, like Google Maps, and then ask basically in a software toolbox to model that energy system with the models that Sebastiaan showed, to calculate how does the economics look like of the system I just designed using this spatial information.
And then also looking in the future towards 2040, 2050.
Exactly, so that you can model different futures and see how did they benefit, or how did they benefit different stakeholders in the North Sea.
Okay. Remco, specifically targeting the Atlas, what does that mean for your activity and the Atlas development?
Yeah, well, very important, of course, and I already mentioned this, is that we keep the data in the Atlas up to date. So that means that we'll probably refresh the data every 6 to 9 months, let's say it like that, by including the relevant new developments that are ongoing on various activities. And then also what we're going to do is we're going to bring the element of time into the atlas more clearly. So in North Sea Energy 5, the work on the hubs will be detailed into blueprints. Basically at different time periods, different moments in time, the hubs will be, the development of the hubs will be further detailed, let's say it like that. And we also want, of course, to visualize that in the atlas. So we will get now, instead of a final vision on the hub concept, we will get a development in time, in 2030, 40 and 50, in different snapshots, blueprints in the atlas.
Yeah, and we already discussed a little bit the interest also from international partners. Is the international aspect being expanded as well, like interconnections with neighboring countries, or
of course, as far as the region of the North Sea goes, we will definitely include any relevant interconnection, either electricity or hydrogen, into the atlas. Sure, yeah.
Okay. And Sebastiaan, on the markets and the economics, what are the big changes that will be there in the NSA5 program?
Yeah, I think a big change will be that we should be, basically I think we're looking at the development of a modeling platform with multiple tools that will allow us to establish a more extensive and integrated look at both, as mentioned just before, the investments and basically the long-term development in conjunction with the short-term operations that we just looked at. But as well, there will be steps undertaken to visualize the network structure offshore, where you can basically assess what is the impact of, for example, swift changes in wind speeds, which will be an effective tool to understand the dynamics of the offshore system.
Will there also be more links to the onshore system? Because it was partly already integrated to NG4. Will that be extended as well?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. If we look at the onshore system, basically the development of decarbonization pathways in industry are just critical for the relationship with the development of offshore wind and hydrogen. So this will be part of the modeling approach there as well.
Okay, thanks very much. I think we're all very much looking forward on all the work that is planned for NSA 5. We're coming to an end of this webinar. Thank you very much for joining, Joris, Remco and Sebastiaan. And to all of you, thank you very much for watching. You can find all the reports actually of the NSA 4 program on our website. On our website you can also find the link to the atlas, so please have a look at it. I think you can also follow the QR code and you get directly to the atlas. And furthermore, I'd like to invite you to get connected to us via our LinkedIn page on social media. And if you're not yet a partner, please consider joining us, because the Energy 5 program is a really big program to extend our work on offshore system integration. Thank you very much for watching, and up to the next webinar. Thank you.